What is up, guys? It's Andrew with MyWatchAddiction.com, and today we're going to take a closer look at that Balticus Helmet Diver that I received in the previous unboxing video. Before we get started, as always, if you guys are not a subscriber, definitely smash that subscribe button down in the right-hand corner of the screen so you can follow us on into the future. Also, if you have any questions, comments at all during this video, definitely post them up in the comments section below and I will respond to each and every one of you. Today, the watch of the day is that Vostok Europe N1 Rocket Automatic. Now this watch, as you may have seen in my previous watch collection video, this guy is still in my collection, doesn't get a whole lot of wrist time, but I decided to break it out today because I don't know, I just felt like putting this one on today, so that's what's on today. Anyway, guys, let's get started. Let's take a look at this Balticus Diver a little bit closer. So jumping back into this Balticus Helmet Diver, again, we'll open this guy up. You might have seen it in the unboxing video, but it does have a pretty interesting case that it comes in. Comes with these silicone straps, which I believe are 22 millimeters at the lug, black silicone straps. Actually feels pretty solid. It doesn't feel waxy or cheap or anything plasticky like that. And then we have the Balticus Diver itself. Now, as you can see, I still have not taken the plastic off of this watch. So there's that Balticus Diver, Helmet Diver. Now, if we take a walk around this watch a little bit, a couple of things that you'll notice right off the bat is it does have a sandwich dial. So what that sandwich dial is, and it might be hard to see on the video, however, in person, it's definitely much more pronounced, is there's actually two layers to that dial. There's the bottom layer, which is a white color, and then that top black enameled dial over top of it. And to me, that adds a little bit of dimension to those numbered indices, which makes it a little bit nice. Incidentally, that lower dial is also where the lume lives, so from what I'm hearing, and I can't wait to see at the end of this video what it looks like, but from what I'm hearing, this watch has some pretty decent low light visibility. Now it does have, like I talked about in the previous video, and of course my fingers aren't working all that well, but it does have an internal rotating bezel. So unlike typical standard divers, whereas the bezel is on the outside of the watch, the bezel for this watch is completely internal to the watch, can't be bumped or anything like that and knocked out of place, which I can imagine is extremely beneficial when you're diving, not driving. So the size of this watch is 44 millimeters in diameter, and it's 51 millimeters lug to lug with a 22 millimeter lug width on this stainless steel bracelet. Now the stainless steel bracelet, and of course I didn't take any of the plastic off, has a push button release. Now it's kind of interesting to me that they didn't go with the fold over on this clasp. Most of the clasps that I've seen like this are fold over, and it does not have that diver's extension like you would see on a typical diver to fit over a wetsuit. But pretty solid little clasp. Not a whole lot to it, just extremely small clasp, and you can see Balticus is engraved right there on the clasp itself. It does have one micro adjustment in the clasp for a better fit. Now, these pins in this bracelet are actually just a standard push-out pin for sizing it. If we look at the back of this watch, I think is really neat. You have that scuba diver design kind of embossed on the back of that case back. This watch does have a date indicator at that 4 o'clock position. Now, This watch, as I mentioned, is an automatic watch. It's powered by the Miyota 9015 automatic movement, similar to that Sao Baltimore watch that I took a look at the other day, the Miyota 9015. Now, one thing that I never really thought about until I'm just looking at this dial is kind of interesting, is to see how different watch designers actually alter the orientation of the movement within the watch to get that date indicator at the position they want based on their design. So what I'm assuming with this watch, and you can kind of see it from where the crowns are also, is that that whole Miyota movement on the inside is kind of skewed a little bit to put that date indicator right there at that 4 o'clock position. This Balticus diver does have a sapphire anti-reflective coated crystal on it. So a nice sapphire crystal on the front of that with anti-reflective coating. And then the only thing that that I'm not real positive on, and it's just because, again, it's my personal preference, has nothing to do with the watch or the watch designer specifically, but I'm not sure if I'm really loving that lime green. I think this watch would, of course, because they're my favorite colors, I think this watch would look absolutely amazing if wherever there was green, there was red. I mean, that watch would be this watch would be one of my favorite watches if that was the case, because I think that would look really, really hot. Now, Balticus watches, their website is balticus-watches.com. They are a Polish company that has brought these watches to market. The only thing that I would say when you're trying to look up these watches just to watch out for is if you go to the Balticus Watches website, they have 2 different languages on their website. They have Polish as well as English. If you go to the English language portion of their website, one thing that was kind of tricky for me is actually trying to find where they listed their watches. There's a tab called Offer, and you have to click on Offer in order to find the actual watches. Whereas most watch companies will list something as simple as watches or for sale or something to that effect, their menu item is Offer. So I don't know if that's something that's lost in translation or what it might be, but I'm glad to see that they do have the English portion of the website, so I could have found out a little bit more information about it. Now, as I mentioned in the unboxing video, this watch I actually acquired via a auction on Facebook, and this was actually kind of a drunken purchase, but now after having it in my hands and seeing the quality on it a little bit more, it's something that I'm glad I pulled the trigger on. When I bid on this, I started bidding on this watch at $200, and then I finally won this watch at $271. So my cost for this watch was $271 in an auction on social media. But like I mentioned, I have seen this watch going in the $300, $350 range. I don't think I did horrible on it. My guess is if there was more of these in circulation, it would probably drop down, the value would probably drop down to the $200, $250 range. Either way, I think it's still a solid watch. Nice design. I'm really liking that sandwiched dial in the watch, as well as that chapter ring, or I'm sorry, internal bezel around the outside. All right, so that was the Balticus Helmet Diver that I received from that drunken auction that I took place in. Anyway, guys, post up in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think of this watch. Let me know if you have any other questions about it that I did not cover in the video. As always, guys, I appreciate you guys sticking around to the end and watching these. I'll do some close-up pictures of this as well as some loom shots, and we'll see what we think about it. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great week, and if you want to see what's on my wrist on a daily basis, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Instagram/watchaddiction.us. Thank you, guys, and have a great one.